we cannot, as Catholics, pray publicly for those who die outside the Catholic faith and to expect that they'll be saved. And the reason is because we have a dogma of faith, a doctrine of our faith, is that one cannot be saved outside the Catholic Church and without the Catholic faith. And in the modern world, that's very offensive. To the traditional Catholics, though, it's a bedrock fundamental principle. And in fact, we have the magisterium of the Church, which has spoken on this subject, and says that if we have a Catholic friend or even relative die outside the faith, we cannot get up in the pulpit and publicly say, well, let's all pray for the repose of their soul. And we can't do that because that would be implying that it didn't matter whether they were members of the Church or had the Catholic faith. That is all the same, like the ecumenical idea. And we are forbidden to present that ecumenical idea. That's very offensive to people today. Why? Because they have the ecumenical idea. They've been infected by modernism. So, there are people who might be offended by this whole idea, but if you talk to them and said to them, well, look, isn't it true that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, came to earth and taught us a true faith? And they'd say, yes. Isn't it true that he established the true church? Yes. Can you be saved without Jesus Christ? No. Can you be saved without faith in Jesus Christ? No. Okay. But can you be saved without the Church of Jesus Christ? And I think any thinking person would have to say, well, no. If you're going to follow Christ and he established the church, it stands to reason that he established the church for a reason, and he wants you in the church. And the church, as I said, it's like Noah's Ark. What was saved were those who were in the ark. You get to talking about this and you make them realize, if there's a true church in the world today, if Jesus Christ established a true church that is his church, you can't imagine the church that Jesus Christ established saying, well, we're just one of many churches and you can be saved in any church. Sure, as far as we're concerned, we're the church established by Jesus, but that doesn't matter. You can belong to whatever church you want. It's all the same. The church that Jesus Christ established could never say that. The church that Jesus Christ established, that is aware of the fact that it was established by Christ himself, the Son of God, and given this divine commission and this divine mission in the world to save souls, would have to say, this is the one true church. It would have to say that. As Jesus Christ is the one true Son of the one true God who taught the one true faith, he established the one true church. And that church is not at liberty to deny Christ by saying, but you can be saved in any church. It doesn't matter. Jesus doesn't mind. So if you were looking for the true church, if you believed that there was a Savior and he is the Son of God and he established a church, and you were looking for that church, which is the one true church as he established, the first thing you'd look for is a church that says, this is the one true church. That'd be the first criterion, right? If you went to somebody, you say, I'm going to become a Christian, and you were looking for somebody who's going to represent Christ, you wouldn't be looking for people to say, oh, I'm a Christian, and I believe Jesus was the Savior, but you don't have to follow him. You can follow Buddha or anybody you want, and they'll all get you to heaven. You'd immediately disqualify them. Say, well, I'm not going to follow them, obviously. They can't be followers of Christ. They can't be Christian. They have to say Jesus Christ is the only Savior. And so it is with the church. If you have churches saying, yes, we're all Christian churches, yes, but you can belong to anyone, they're all path to heaven, you'd immediately disqualify them. That is not the voice of Christ, who said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and I will establish my church. And the gates of hell shall not prevail against it, who sent out his apostles to preach the gospel and to baptize and to teach mankind what they were to do to be saved. Any church that would fail to say this is the church that Christ established is not even consideration. So, in other words, the very thing that offends people and maybe drives people away right now is the very thing that should give them confidence that, yeah, there is a church that says this is the church established by Jesus Christ. It's going to stand by that. It's going to live by that. It's going to die by that. These people that members of the church live and die by that, that this is the true church Christ established. And you must belong to that church to be saved, as you must follow Christ to be saved.